I was written off the show. The last few months there were particularly extremely tough for me. At that point, I had prayed to leave that space for almost 2 years. So it was time for me to move on.
Genies, before we jump into this episode, I just want to take a moment and say thank you to all of you who've joined this growing community. You know, your support really means the world to me. Each week we continue to grow because of you. Each view and each subscription ensures that this podcast brings you bigger and better names every single week. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so, because what are you waiting for? Now, welcome to another episode of Access Genie, the podcast that opens doors to success in the world of entrepreneurship. Today, I'm joined by Nomvelo Makhanya, an all-round creative. She's an award-winning actress, a DJ, a mental health activist, and maybe you might remember her from ETV, where she played Lindiwe, which is a role she played for an entire decade. Her journey isn't anything short of remarkable and amazing. Thank you so very much, Nomvelo, for joining us. I'm so excited because I noticed that you don't do a lot of press at the moment. And I think you haven't done a lot of press since you left the show on ETV. What have the last 18 months been like for you?
Sure. It's been a journey full of a lot of emotions, but it's been amazing and incredibly fulfilling for me. It's been really great. There's been a lot of healing, a lot of unlearning, a lot of rediscovering who I am outside of what I knew before. The past 18 months have been nothing but fulfilling for me.
Yeah. But, you know, I think a lot of people will be wondering what the last 18 months have been like, because when you left the show, it wasn't really pretty. There was a lot of talk about why you left and how you left, the impact of it, and different sides of the stories being told. And then you took a decision to tell your own story and say, listen, this is my truth and this is what it is. How did that decision impact you and your life to, you know, when you decided to speak up?
So funny. I was apparently leaving the show because my imaginary fiance didn't want me kissing men on set, which was a huge shock because I didn't even know I had a fiance, you know. But in all seriousness, you know, without seeming like I'm speaking ill of anyone, but just telling my truth and my lived experience, right? I was written off the show, right? And this came, I think, a week and a half after I had reported my director and my floor manager that they were drunk on set. I got called into the office, and, you know, the news was delivered to me. And it was made seem like I was the one with the problem. I was the one with the issues. But I took it like a champ and I held my head high. And, you know, it was tough. I don't want to lie. Like the last few months there were particularly extremely tough for me because I stopped vlogging for my YouTube because, you know, they found little things to just make it seem like it was a problem. So, you know, with the vlogging, it was, you're wasting production's time. We always have to constantly wait for you, which was untrue. Even with live videos on my Instagram and promoting the production, the show, I stopped doing all of that because it was like, oh, you're wasting our time. And I was like, that's something that's new, but, you know, it is what it is. And also another thing was crazy for me was that the same people I had reported, right, started speaking about it in the corridors. And for me, that was really mind-blowing because it's like, isn't this supposed to be, you know, a safe space? But, you know, I had a tribe that really just, they held me down, and shout out to them. for holding me down until the very end.
Yeah. And speaking up often, we've seen it time and time again. It often has consequences because unfortunately we live in a world that thrives on silencing people who want to stand for truth or want to stand their ground. Did you face any retaliation for speaking out publicly about the reasons why you left? What were those like?
I did. A lot of the times people in power always want to show you that they hold the cards. And when you start speaking up, excuse my French, when you start speaking up against their bullshit, they want to make sure that you struggle. I was blacklisted for a while. You're not working, and I think for them it was just wanting to just prove that we're bigger than you, we made you. Who do you think you are? But it's just that, just like a power thing. Yeah.
That's so true. And you talk about being blacklisted. How does that look like in the entertainment industry?
Blacklisting in the industry, you basically don't work. You get blacklisted and you don't get jobs. The minute you show up, they already know who you are because bazwile phela, bayabatshela.
People with
she's
power.
difficult to work with. Yeah, she's a diva. Where even that would be a surprise because I had spent so much of my time and I gave so much of myself, right, to that show for 10 years, right? And you were always told, you're amazing, the work that you put in is great, yo, don't stop. And then it just goes to, she's difficult to work with simply because you are standing up for what is right. And yes, I've got my own flaws, I'm not perfect, but I really believe that when you stand up for what is right, why do I then have to lose out on opportunities? Why can I not call you out when you were wrong?
How did that blacklisting and that entire situation impact you, especially financially, work-wise, and even mentally and emotionally?
Sure. It definitely, it's not a lot of people actually that know this, but I was very suicidal just after I lost my job. I was extremely, 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 extremely suicidal. I've got extreme anxiety, so, I had voices in my head that would constantly tell me that I deserved what happened to me. And I believed it for a while, so in my head it was always, you deserved it. That was what was going on. And, but I think when you start, doing the work, and fortunately for me, I had a really great support structure and a very great support system that they held me down through it all. And it was always, it's not your fault. It's okay. What you're going through, it's valid. Your emotions are valid. But we're going to get through it. I went through a lot of healing and therapy to get to where I am now. Financially, I don't think I was affected as much. I had my savings. There was and is still work that I'm doing, my content creation work that I'm doing. So, there was a bit of money that was coming in. It's just now there was just no stable salary every single month, which meant I just have to work extremely hard than I would normally do. Yeah. But it's crazy. I make a lot of money outside of acting now.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that it drove you to a point of being suicidal and feeling that your life should end.
Yeah, and I felt like I wasn't good enough. Because how can you pour so much of your heart and soul into something and then just have it just spit back into your face? I think that's crazy.
Yeah. And our mental states are very critical, right? Because one moment you can be here and quickly go down and not know what to do and literally find yourself in a space where you're feeling like that. On one of your YouTube videos talking about vlogging, you said that you've healed now. What does that look like? So if you were to compare that space and where you are now, when you say, I have healed now, what does that mean to you?
interestingly enough, let me tell you a story. I was actually on their set a few weeks ago. A friend of mine was shooting something with them. He's a DJ, so they just wanted him to come in for a cameo role, right? And he was like, "Yep, we're going with you." I'm like, "Guys, no, the drama." Like, "Nope, we're going," right? And wow, what an amazing feeling. Let me tell you something. There's a saying that says, you never really know how healed you are until you go back to that very thing that hurt you. And let me tell you something. I felt so amazing. I felt no anger. I felt no hurt. I felt no noise whatsoever. And even then, I was received with so much joy and so much love, which is, that was really insane. But it's the therapy, man, and my support system and the community that I've had that really, 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 really held me down. And I never believed the voices in my head. I realized what happened had to happen. And also, when it did happen at the time that it was happening, at that point, I had prayed to leave that space for almost 2 years. So it was time for me to move on anyway. God plans our lives, guys. And we pray for certain things. And when God eventually gives you something, you want to question it. And just because God said, yeah, uzohamba, he didn't say how hard or how easy it was going to be. It was hard. It was very hard. There was a lot of talks and all of that. But my support system really, really, really just held me down. And I don't know how to explain like the joy and the contentment in my soul and in my spirit. But I've healed and I'm not angry anymore. It was just like, vele niya projector, it's fine. Like, the problem is with you guys. And yes, like I said, I'm not perfect. I had my own flaws as well. There were certain things that I also had to work on, and heal and become a better person. But yeah, like healing for me now just looks like just being happy and doing what I love when I want to do it. Like, I can literally do anything at any time that I want to do. Like, nothing stops me anymore. Like, remember when we had gone to that game drive? We were in Drakensberg, right? And it was such a big hoo-ha, because it's like, yo, guys, we have to go back on time. I need to be on set in the afternoon. We need to hurry. But now you can hit me up and say, girl, let's go, because I don't have to worry. I own my time now. I'm not dependent on that anymore. Yeah.
And you talk about this idea of God uprooting you, and it reminds me of this beautiful quote by Wintley Phipps. He's a singer in the US, a gospel singer, and he says there's a song that he does with Gaither, and then he was singing It Is Well With My Soul. And before that, he was sharing a testimony about his life and how he got to be in the music space. And he says it is in the quietest crucible of your personal private sufferings that your noblest dreams are born.
Yeah.
And that your God's greatest gifts are given in compensation for what you've been through. Let me say that again. He says it is in the quietest crucible of your personal private sufferings that God's greatest gifts are given in compensation for what you've been through. So sometimes God uproots us and puts us in places that are difficult and strange and uncomfortable, because it's like, I want to give you all of these gifts, but because you're too comfortable where you are, you're not going to get into a place where you can be quiet and understand where I'm trying to give you. And to also make you noble. It says noblest dreams, because I believe that any true, meaningful, and impactful success comes from humility and being noble and being content. So maybe that's why that happened. You wanted to live for 2 years, and you are not. And God was like, girl,
I realized that. I remember it was the beginning of 2023. Like, why has God isolated me so much? Like, I was isolated. I think the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, God made sure, I don't want to lie to you, God made sure to isolate me from everyone and everything that could possibly mess up my journey and the plans that he has for me. So I literally had like a handful of people that I could, really rely on, and obviously family as well. But God really does that. And I remember like maybe 6 months into 2023, God started speaking. I was like, oh, that's what you've been trying to do this entire time. I'm so sorry, God, I'm so sorry for not being patient, but it was really that. But God will show up when it's time, and God will really give you what you need when it's time and when you're ready. And everything happens when it's meant to happen, not when you are ready, but when God is.
How did he show up when you say he started showing up and speaking?
He started showing up in crazy ways, guys. God has a very crazy sense of humor. That man is, sometimes I'm just like, fana nami ne? Like, see a funny sense of humor yet, see a fine. I remember the one time I decided, I'm gonna start exercising. So decided to jog around our area, and I'm jogging. Then I jog across like our park, right? So I'm like, I'm actually tired, so I'm just gonna go back home and just start going to like use my weights to gym and everything, right? So when I passed by, there's a guy that was exercising inside the park. And I asked him like, are you like, do you train and whatever? Can I come and gym with you tomorrow? And I was like, you can actually come right now. So I was like, okay, so let's go around. And I came in. But the conversations with this guy was so spiritual. Like, it felt as if everything that I had been asking of God, or anything that I'd been asking him, somehow came through this guy. I was getting answers, like, and I just was like, okay, this is strangest thing to happen, right? And after that, I'd gone home. I was gonna go to the salon to do my hair. Same day. I get ready, I go to the salon. I get to the salon, Mama T's like, actually, no, Mama T hadn't been in, so I had to go look for her inside the house. She's like, please go gather everyone, let's pray. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, guys, Mama said, come, let's pray. But whoever's busy with the client, it's fine. You can continue. But that day, even the clients were like, no, we all want to pray. It was praise and worship for, I think, a good hour, where we were just praying and praising God. And I just saw God show up, and I was like, okay, God, I see what you've been trying to do.
Yeah. Talking about God showing up, we've been doing some work together for a number of years now with some of our clients at Ralinka Media. And one of the things that you always talk about is this idea of how not all of us are lucky enough to have the breaks that we get in life, especially considering where we come from and our history as Black people, let alone our history as women. From your environment and where you grew up, where did most of the people end up that makes you look at life and say, we are lucky and blessed?
I have no idea where everybody ended up, if I'm being honest. Like, if I look at people from like childhood, I don't know. But, as I was growing older, and the friends that I met, even in my childhood, we're still cool. Shout out to my day ones. But everyone is really just doing what they are passionate about. Like, we all had dreams, and we fought for them, and we are what we thought we would be then, now.
Yeah, for sure. And you were just 16 when you started in the industry. You were in high school. Many people at that age are still trying to figure out, listen, nothing. What am I going to wear this December? And I want a new hairstyle. Or I want to get my nails done this holiday. But you had to wake up every day and go to work and balance that with school as well. And success at a young age like that isn't easy. We've seen it a lot with kids from Hollywood and how that impacts their lives. Have you ever looked at your life and asked, but like, why me? Why am I the one who got this break at that point and that time?
I think Now, because I understand my purpose and why I am on this earth, no. God has always isolated me from a very young age. I've always known that I was different from the rest. I wasn't always going to fit in, unfortunately. Not everyone was going to like me. I'm not money, but I've always known I was different. So even with my luck, I always knew it was God, because even getting into the art school that I went to, I did that to prove a point. Because I had someone that did not believe in me, because you go to school, guys, and you expect, oh, Tisha, ukuthi kube yibona abakusupportayo in everything that you do, that will push you to go for your dreams. But for me, it was crazy that how can a teacher literally just efuna ukungicekelela phansi and not want me to go after my dream? So I had a point to prove, but not knowing that God had already planned out my journey. It was already written in the stars. This gift that we have, it's God ordained. And unfortunately, there is no human that could ever possibly stand in between what God has planned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, that's so incredibly powerful and thought-provoking. And I know that your mom was a teacher, and I know that the environments that we grow up in are important in shaping who we become. And your mom as a teacher at work was also a teacher at home, ensuring that she demands excellence and push you. How did that kind of upbringing and your home life impact the person that you are today and the journey that you have sort of gone through?
I had to realize from a very young age that no one is coming to save you. You have to work for everything that you want, unfortunately. Our parents are putting in the money. So now we meet them halfway by giving them the marks that they need so that you can have a better future for yourself. So I've always known that I had to work hard. My parents were very strict. And I'm so thankful for that, because I'm now strict on myself. Because it's easy for you to lose yourself in this industry and lose yourself in all of it.
You talk about how easy it is to lose yourself in the industry. Do you think that this industry, and especially fame, is a drag?
Absolutely. If you don't know who you are and why you are doing what you are doing, and if you don't understand your purpose and why God has placed you in the position that He has placed you in, then it's easy for you to really just flow with the wind and just be a bird and just, you are everywhere. Fame is a drug, but I think just always remember why you're doing what you're doing and why you're here.
And I think it can also be the toughest drug, because your life as somebody who's famous is dictated by other people.
Yes.
And even your success is based on their reviews. You know, for me as a journalist, you can read my stories and see the work I'm doing, and everybody will be clear. But with art and creativity, it's so subjective. And it's really based on opinion. People have opinions on how you live, where you should live,
No, they have
what you
opinions
should
on
dress.
everything. It's
Every
crazy.
single thing. What do you think being famous has cost you? Because you've been doing it for a long time. What does it cost you?
12 years, guys. Oh my God. $7. But it's cost me my privacy. I just miss my privacy. I miss getting into a restaurant and, sitting and just eating without anyone having to bother you. I miss going out with my family without anyone having to bother me. And honestly, I'm grateful for it, because for me, how I take it more than anything is that it's just a reminder that people appreciate my work. So I look at it positively more than I do negatively. But man, I miss my privacy.
Talking about missing privacy, going back to your childhood, what did, say, a 7-year-old Nomvelo want to be?
Woo! We got that was how many years ago? Yo,
Yeah,
almost
about
20 years
20
ago.
years ago.
Yo, crazy. Guys, I'm so old.
No, man.
And I look young. I'm Dala, guys. Musis Nomvelo. But, shoo, 7-year-old, 10-year-old Nomvelo wanted to become a sports star. I was certain I was going to become one of the best netball and hockey players that South Africa has ever had. I was so certain, guys. Like, I miss it. And it's so crazy this year. Actually, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start feeding my passions again, like feeding my other passions. Starting new and old hobbies as well. So, tennis has been one of them. I want to get into netball and hockey again, just to feed that inner child again. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You know, earlier you touched on how you suffer from mental health issues. And I know you were diagnosed with bipolar, anxiety, and depression in 2016. And you even ended up being hospitalized and getting help. How did you know that something was wrong and that you needed help? Because a lot of people often in our culture don't even accept bipolar, anxiety, and depression as actual illnesses that we need to take care of and overcome.
So like I said earlier, I've always been isolated from a very young age. Even in school, people would just isolate me. So in that, I learned to accept and appreciate my solitude, right? Which meant I got to learn and understand myself better. So there were certain emotions that I was experiencing that I didn't understand. And obviously sometimes you'll Google, what does it mean if I'm feeling like this? And you'll get different symptoms of what it is or diagnosis. But I spoke to my mom about it, and I told her that I want to see a psychologist just so I can just kind of figure out what it is that's going on with me. And, I did that for a while. I was seeing my psychologist, and my psychologist was like, ma'am, looks like I'm going to have to book you in. I'm like, sir, what do you mean? Because I've got work. Like, I'm literally going back to work in a week's time. I can't afford to be in hospital. Like, it's just like, nope, it's going to help you. Like, this is what you need. And I called, I told my mom, had to call work and let them know that, they're going to have to reshuffle everything. And shout out to them, honestly. That part of my life then, they were very supportive. I'll forever be grateful for how they held me down like that, but I was hospitalized, and it was the most strange and fulfilling in the same breath experience for me. One, it's a foreign environment. You have no idea what to expect. But more than anything, it was safe. Like, it made me feel so safe. I felt like, okay, I'm understanding myself and my emotions a lot better, and I like this. So I'm gonna put in the work because I want to understand myself, and I want to be better. I want to heal. I want to get out there and understand why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling. So that happened. I was in hospital, I think, for about 21 days. Yeah, it was about 3 weeks. And I met different types of people. I learned different types of things from the different people. But even in the classes that we'd attend, the community I had then, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful for them. And even to my own family, my immediate family, because not everyone knew that I was in hospital. One, because it wasn't something we necessarily wanted to speak about or let everyone know. I just wanted to heal. And I remember the one time where, during the times when I was in hospital, Monsieur Vote, actually, it was one of the elections. And obviously, I had to get a day pass, and I'd gone back home for that Saturday, and I didn't take off my hospital band. So I go to the voting station. So this lady asks me, then manje yini? I'm like, no, I'm in hospital. I just got a day pass just so I can come and do this. It's like, why are you in hospital? And for me, it's never been something that's like been a secret. Like I didn't feel like I needed to hide why I was in hospital. It's just like, oh no, I got diagnosed with depression, bipolar, and anxiety. So, it's like, hey, depressed yini? So like you've got like, and for me that changed my life forever. I could have taken that very negatively, and something could have happened, but I was like, okay, I think God is trying to say something. We need to start teaching our Black communities about mental health, because it's so taboo. Like, we feel like it is a white man's disease, this thing, but it's not. We all go through whatever emotions, and our emotions are valid. Like, we just need to understand them better so that we can live kahle in harmony, kube kuhle, So, yeah, that journey, honestly, it changed my life forever. I don't want to lie. Because even Mang Puma, I was like, yeah, no, we have to work now. I then started my baby called Silent Crisis, which aims to teach people about mental health. And this year, we're back with the banger, so stay tuned to my social media pages, But it's just that way. I just want to teach people. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be anxious. It's okay to have all these illnesses, but you just need to learn how to manage it. It's our superpower. Kanye once said this, like, your bipolar is your superpower. Your depression is your superpower. So for me, my mental illnesses are literally just that. It's my superpower, and I use that to heal people and to live out my full potential and my full purpose.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I think especially because in June in South Africa, it's Men's Health Month. And I think internationally, it's actually Men's Mental Health Month. And I think a lot of men specifically are the most affected, because we've got this culture of don't talk about this. You're weak if you do this as a man and do that as a man. And I think it's also our responsibility, especially people like me who have significant others and who are men, to take time to ask questions and support them and give them that safe space to communicate, because men actually commit more suicide than women. Because we've got an outlet, and society to some extent allows us to cry compared to men. So you find that men end up committing suicide because they just don't have the right spaces to do that. And even the youth right now with Gen Zs, I was reading stats a couple of months ago, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's even feeling like it's a trend to commit suicide.
But also, I think it's also
people.
the bullying in these schools as well. Like, I dealt with a lot of bullying in high school. I don't want to lie. And that's why I'm so against it, because, I could handle it because I can stand up against it. But there's some child that can't do that, and they just feel like they're not good enough. And that's why I'm constantly always preaching to people, be kind. That takes absolutely nothing from you to just show kindness to people, because you have no idea what demons people are dealing with outside. Just be kind. Like, what does it take away from you to just be nice to someone? To just say something nice to someone and make them smile. You could literally have a dream right now and want to start something, but someone will have a negative opinion, and you're just like, I'm not doing that anymore, and you just leave it. Just be kind. Kindness is so, 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 so important.
So critical. I actually posted something a couple of weeks ago on social media, and I was asking the question, when did we become a society without compassion? Because we are so quick to put our boundaries, etc. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with having boundaries.
Absolutely.
But while I have my boundaries and I've got expectations on how I want people to treat me and how I want people to address me, etc., there still needs to be a room for compassion.
Yeah.
Because like you said, we don't know what people are going through. And just because I was at my optimum yesterday and I'm not today doesn't mean I don't deserve the grace and the compassion, even without you knowing what I'm going through.
Yeah.
My husband has been talking to me a lot about the importance of choosing self, because I'm a big giver. So I'll give and serve before I serve myself. And he's been talking to me about this for years. You need to choose yourself also. You need to choose yourself also. Who fills your cup? And I had a weird epiphany a couple of months ago. And I was like, oh my goodness, I am so obsessed about serving people I love and ensuring that they're good and well taken care of. And I forget that I love me first. So where's the love for me? Because it's not there.
It's so funny. I think also during my isolation period, Nozuga would always, my bestie, Nozuga would always remind me, because I'm like, I can't show up for you guys. I really want to come. And one day she was just like, Nomvelo, it's okay if you can't show up. Show up for yourself. This period is for you. Show up for you.
Show up for you. And I feel like that's what you're doing right now, because you're exploring your talents. I'm excited. I've been seeing you DJ and up on the decks and mixing music and exploring that side of you. What made you make that jump and really venture into DJing?
So funny I speak about Nozugo. During the time where I'd been praying to God that I want to leave, right? Nozugo also was that friend that I was constantly speaking to. And I was just like, I'm so unhappy here. I just don't feel the passion for what I'm doing. I just feel like I'm not creative enough. I'm not doing everything that I want to do. And she was like to me, okay, friend, what do you need? I'm like, I need time. I don't have time. And God eventually gave me that time, right? And it's been so fulfilling to just be a creative, to just do things. So with music, it's something I've always wanted to do. Something I've always said, I want to sing. I want to, and I finally had the time to do that. So I was just exploring. And even with the DJing, that story is so funny, because I started DJing because I was just in my head a lot because I didn't have work and I was just sitting at home doing nothing. And I was just like, I need to find something to do. And then I invested in it. I started taking classes and just started putting in the work. I was in studio as well, recording music, trying to find my sound. And it's been so fulfilling. I'm so content. I don't know how to explain. Everything I'm doing now is everything that I've always wanted to do. And I know a lot of people, because again, you guys always have opinions, even when there's no need for you to have opinions. I remember I'd posted there's a post I posted on my Instagram, and it was just the different videos of my gigs. And someone had commented, and he was like, oh, you're going from being such a great actress to this. I was like, you don't know me. From above soap, you have no idea who I am. All you know is that little girl that you guys used to watch on TV. And unfortunately for you guys, that little girl had dreams. And what did people expect of me? To stay in a space for more than 10 years? It's been 10 years. I'd served my purpose and it was time to move on to other things. And just because I'm now doing music and DJing does not mean I'm not an actress anymore. I'm an award-winning actress, do we forget? But it's just that where it's just my passions. I'm just feeding my soul. I'm just doing everything that I was never able to do, because I also feel like I lost out on a lot of my young years because I was working. So I'm also kind of playing catch up now as I'm old. I'm like, oh, I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to do this, because I don't want to look back 10 years, 20 years from now and say, oh, I wish I could have done that. So I want to do everything that I've always wanted to do and just be as creative as I've always wanted to be and just fulfill my heart and my soul. So the music has been that. It's been young excites. It excites me so much because it's something that's new. Like, it's something that's new, and I'm just like, I'm learning as I'm going, and even the support that I have, it's just like, Asambe, Baba, you got this, Asambe, you know, and it's so fulfilling, man. I don't know how to explain it. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I'm doing it now.
Talking about things that you've always wanted to do, I know you and I over the years speak a lot about entrepreneurship and getting into business, and it's one of the things I'm still hoping to see from you. But I know starting a business is hard and has a lot of obstacles, and there's ventures that you've been wanting to get to, but you've just not been able to get there yet. What obstacles have you faced that have sort of hindered you to make that jump into entrepreneurship?
I think one, it's been time. Because I'm so busy with this baby that's new, you know, the music and the DJing. My focus has been on that, right? And I feel like I haven't had time to just do it, because I've always wanted my own kitchen, guys. For those of you that don't know, it's something I've always wanted to do. I love cooking, and also cooking really also saved me during the time that I wasn't working. I was cooking because I was sad, but it made me so happy. Like, it really just, wow. It really just fulfilled my heart, and I enjoyed it so much. And to just have people around you, you know, your loved ones, eat your food, and it's like, yeah, dude, you really need to like start a business and do something about it. It's been so fulfilling. But I'm a firm believer of everything happens when it's meant to happen. So I do believe that when it's time, it will happen. I have not forgotten about it. I even want to go back to school for that. I'm not a school person. I've never been. But, you know, I've always said, if I were to go back to school, definitely I'm going to culinary school just so I can feed this passion, because I love cooking so much. But yeah, it's just been time. Finances then, I feel like now I'm fine. You know, it's something that we can, that I can just do. But also just the support as well. I feel like I don't have the support I want from my immediate family. But it's been that. Yeah.
I'm so glad that food is therapeutic for you, because I think that's one great connection we also share, because food is also so therapeutic for me. And when I feel stressed and I feel overwhelmed, I cook.
Yeah.
Even my Apple Watch will show my heart rate stabilizing when I cook, because food has that impact on me and on so many people. And I think also it's about what food means. It's warm. It means home. It means family. It means love. It means sitting together. It means, so even outside of the process of standing on the stove and cooking, just seeing how much it services a whole family, and it's just about love
and community.
And community makes it really therapeutic, and I share that emotion with you. I've also been wanting to launch a food business since 2020. Hopefully it's going to come this
From
year.
From our mouths to God's ears.
And, you know, getting into the food space is not the easiest. It's expensive. It's highly regulated.
Of course.
There's a lot of protocols and red tape in the space. So I've got no doubt that you'll be able to get there and be able to do it. And 100%. Talking about support in entrepreneurial ventures, I've learned from experience that the people who are not the most closest to you are the people who are actually going to support you. So it doesn't necessarily mean people who are totally outside of your network. They might be in your network, but not on the immediate circle. Because sometimes people are in our immediate circles don't get it sometimes. Maybe it's not having the wisdom to be able to see your vision and see how they can play a role. Sometimes it's just resources. Sometimes it's just because they're too familiar with you that they don't like see how to support you. So I'd say that also look at people like me, for example, and you know so many entrepreneurs around you who might not be your circle. Maybe they're in the second layer or third layer, but you find that people would be there. And one big thing I've learned in my entrepreneurial journey is to just ask for help, because you don't lose anything. And I feel like this space that I'm in has also become a space of clarifying relationships, because people like us who are service driven, we will have people take a lot, and we give and give, and we don't ask when it's time to. So in this space, as an entrepreneur, I've learned to ask, and I've used that also as a way of measuring and classifying relationships. It doesn't mean I'll cut you off, but you'll just move on other circles. We know where we stand, and I know where how far you can go for me and where to place you, so that when I'm also serving, I'm serving with that in mind. I'm not breaking my back, when I don't have, or when my cup is empty. So I know that you definitely get there. And I look forward to see what you're going to do next. I think this is very exciting. When we close off our beautiful podcast and conversations, we like to do something that's called Fast Five. Ooh. This is where I ask you 5 quick questions. You can answer them in 1 word or a sentence or a phrase. So doesn't need to be a monologue. Are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. What word or phrase describes your state of mind in the season?
The season, happy.
Happy. Yeah. And what's something that you used to value that you no longer value?
People that don't value me.
What do people get wrong about you?
That I'm aggressive. I'm just passionate when I speak. That's all. I'm very misunderstood, but I feel like I'm just very passionate when I speak,
And what's the biggest mindset shift that has impacted your life heavily?
Sure, what's the biggest
mindset shift? Yeah.
Realizing that no one is coming to save you.
And what are you currently trying to unlearn?
What am I currently trying to unlearn? Giving so much of myself to people that don't deserve it.
Thank you so much, Nomvelo. This has been such an impactful conversation. And at Access Genie, we try to give access to people like you and entrepreneurs and leaders so that the greater community can learn and really improve their own lives and their own businesses. And that's a wrap for this episode of Access Genie. A huge shout out to our amazing studio partner, Photographers Galore, right here in Sharon Lee, Randburg. So whether you're a fellow podcaster, an aspiring photographer, or you just need top-notch studio space, they've got you covered. Their talented team of photographers is ready to bring your vision to life. So to book the studio, just contact the number and email on your screen right now. They're quick, they're amazing. And I've got something really incredible too, because if you subscribe to our channel and email them, you're able to use the promo code AGP24 to get 15% off your booking. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.